Pretty cool first panel, right? I liked most of those guys up there. Some of us talked a little too long. I know who I am. Good there. But we're going to switch reels now and do something that's interesting for me to do. I don't know that I've been a women's advocate my whole life, and probably first 3/4 of my life have been the opposite. And I don't know why I'm saying that, but I guess I was just raised that way and never changed. So this is relatively new for me, being an advocate for women, and I don't know if I can call myself a feminist or not. But yesterday I was wearing a different necklace, and the shaman pointed out that that was a woman's necklace. and I acknowledged that, and I bought it because I have been told that I have too much masculine energy. These three right here made that point. And so it was an intentional thing for me to do, to try and step in, bring out more of my feminine energy, whatever that means, whatever that looks like. I'm on a journey here, and so I need some help now. So that said, a big step in that direction is this panel and this keynote. The topic is Women Rising. I said before, and I'll say again, it's long past time for us men to take our feet off of the necks of women and BIPOC communities. 70% of the population in the world cannot be ignored anymore. And we need those voices and their ideas, and we need to include them in climate and social and economic justice solutions and whatever in the hell else they damn want to do. So, to kick it off, where's Naseem? There you are. Naseem Sayani is our keynote speaker here. I am impressed with her. I was Googling her this morning as I was thinking how I was going to introduce her. She's a seasoned venture investor and business digital startup strategist for 20 plus years. I hope I got that right. A bit of a tongue twister there. Spoke at LA Tech Week, New York Tech Week, Women's Health Innovation Summit. She has a podcast, and one of the topics was venture, motherhood, and leading towards possibility. I love that. I'm a possibility believer. She just was an associate producer on a documentary called Show Her the Money. I think we all need to watch that. What happens when we invest in women, and how when we show women how to invest. So please help me welcome her, and let's listen to some words of wisdom.
Hi. I'm putting water over here. I made it at some point. Okay, slides will get up there in a minute. It's nice to meet everyone. I love rooms like this because the storytelling is so fun. So I hope you like what we're going to talk about today. There we go. It's up. Okay. So some of you who know me know that I live to change things, breaking down systems, rebuilding them, breaking down bias. I'll tell you some fun stories as we go. That's my mission in life. So I think we're today in a world where we're looking forward. So that's the conversation we're going to have today. I'll tell you, it's going to change. Do I need to point this somewhere to make it change? Oh, there we go. Okay. I'll give you the quick run on my background. There's lots of fun logos. The top line story is I grew up in management consulting. I'm a recovering consultant, is what I like to say. Spent a lot of time on planes, doing a lot of fun work all around the world. All of it in digital strategy and innovation. I've started doing that work in 2007 when we first had iPhones in our hands. And my corporate client friends didn't know what digital strategy was. Those words meant nothing. And so we were teaching them what it meant. And that turned into lots of years of doing really hardcore digital strategy work, launched a product studio. The product studio grew up into a venture incubator, was building startups with my clients, helping them design the company that would otherwise put them out of business. Quickly then jumped the fence and have been writing checks into startups for the last 7 years. I only write checks to female-founded teams across healthcare, climate, future of work, and financial services. So I spend my time on one side making sure women get funded as startup leaders and founders, and on the other side making sure women become investors, because it's incredibly powerful to have women writing checks as investors, and we'll talk more about that in a minute as well. Okay, so gender drives our perceptions, right? It's how it changes a lot of how we think about things in ways that maybe it shouldn't. Perceptions are driven by expected, maybe unexpected, perceived behaviors. Behaviors are wrapped in bias, and bias in some cases can make or break us, and we don't always want that to happen. So how do we break bias? Conscious and unconscious bias changes everything around us, and it affects how we move through the world. In some worlds, we feel good about it, we don't feel good about it. It changes how capital moves, it changes how we get promoted. It's a super pain in the ass, I hate it. And so what I'm trying to do in a lot of, especially in venture, is try to change how we break bias. And the way this happens is it comes back to behaviors. A lot of these character traits are often considered very male, right? Big booming voice, independence, leading, assertiveness, emotional stoicism, like these are things that are very often characterized as male and often considered very valuable, right? These are things that we give weight to. We consider them to be useful and characterized as very male. On the other side, there are otherwise feminine traits. We're nurturing, we are more relationship-based, we come with collaboration and partnership. These things are often considered very weak. They're not as valuable. They're considered soft. If we come in with these traits in a room, we're not considered important enough in some cases. And when I grew up in consulting, were male-dominated spaces. Venture as well, male-dominated spaces. And so you take on the male traits so you can survive in those rooms. It's all driven by bias. Now, what I want to do, because I don't like the system, and I have, in my growth, right, I went from consulting into venture. There was a moment in time where I became a principal and then became a partner, and a lot of my clients then also became more female. There was a moment when I realized that actually these feminine traits became really valuable. All of a sudden, I could build relationships with my female clients in a way that my male counterparts couldn't. All of a sudden, I could talk about clothes and shoes and the vacations we were doing and these things in ways that, like, those women are now girlfriends of mine in ways that they couldn't be with the men, right? All of a sudden, being female was a really valuable asset and not a liability. So what I want to do is not talk about bias. I want to reframe the whole conversation around superpowers. And not just the feminine superpowers. I want to put all of those things into a basket and say, let's actually just talk about superpowers. And what things are we each flexing and when? Because if we integrate all of those things into superpowers, those feminine traits are really powerful things that we should all be flexing and using them in a way that can advantage us enormously. So we're going to meet some women, hear what they did, and we're going to talk about their feminine superpowers. So the first one, let's meet Eunice. She laid the foundation for climate science. She, back in the early 1800s, did the first experiments to actually prove that water could capture heat. She did the early experiments to do this. These were the first experiments that laid and proved the greenhouse effect. We wouldn't have the foundations of climate science without the experiments that she did. Now, she didn't get the credit for it. A white man named John Tyndall got the credit for it a couple of years later. Nonetheless, these were her experiments. She established the basis for greenhouse gases. She was the first to do the experiments. She was a women's voting activist. She did all kinds of things. Tremendously smart. Now, the economic effect of what she did, I can't read this little screen, so I'm going to have to read it up there to make sure I do it right. Her foundational discovery drives a $5 to $10 billion in annual climate science funding today, and it's the foundation of a $10 trillion green global economy. It's incredible what she did and the foundational science that she built that powers everything we're talking about today. Now, her superpower, soft-spoken, incredibly smart scientist, quick thinker, and she had a knack for debate. She would take on the men around her around these details. Now, a lot of those traits meant she was often called abrasive. I've been called abrasive. I'm sure many of us in the room have been called abrasive. But she was a smart scientist. Her superpower was being sharp and smart and quick and able to debate. She was called abrasive.